Now, Ya Yahya, immediately we're taken, the dua is fulfilled, child is born, child is grown up, child is ready to be a prophet. And now Allah is talking, not just like He was talking to Zakaria, now He's talking to Yahya. Ya Yahya, khudil kitaba biquwa. Yahya, hold on to the book with all your might. Something I've been saying to Yahya the entire year. Ya Yahya, khudil kitaba biquwatin. Hold on to the book with great might. What book is this? Tawrat. Why is he told to hold on to the book with great might? Because Tawrat gives good news of Isa. And Yahya will be the right hand of Isa alayhi salam. And he will believe in him and fortify his message and deliver his message because he came musaddiqan lima bayna yadayya min at-Tawrat. So if he's going to be the true assistant of Isa alayhi salam, he has to be a qualified assistant. And to be qualified, you have to know Tawrat really, really well. So hold on to the book with great strength. وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ. And we had given him, now the second opposite, things that normally don't go together, we had given him maturity, hukm, firmness in decision. This was used, for example, when Yusuf alayhi salam was growing up. وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا. That Musa alayhi salam is growing up in the castle of Fir'aun, in Surah Al-Qasas. Again, hukman. He's given firmness, maturity. آتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ صَبِيًّا. Now, sabi is used for a child, in the age of child. But sabi is also used actually for an adult who's acting like a child. Sabi is the word used for a lack of hukum. الَّذِي لَيْسَ لَهُ حُكُمْ فَهُوَ صَبِي. The one who doesn't have maturity is sabi. But Allah says, even though he was a child expected to lack maturity, Allah had given him hukum anyway. So this is again contrasting language. Two things that normally don't go together are then put together. وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ صَبِيًّا. So he wasn't a child like anybody else. And how was he not a child like anybody else? وَحَنَانًا. They say in Arabic, حَنَتِ الْمَرْأَةُ أو حَنَّتِ الْمَرْأَةُ لِوَلَدِهَا. The woman, she missed her child and she's constantly thinking about her child and she keeps going back to her child. So she's working in the kitchen and she just goes to see her baby sleeping. Then she comes back and she does some other work. She goes back to see the baby sleeping. Doesn't like him, just wants to see him. She can't be without him for too long. Right? This is Hanan. And Allah describes that as a quality of Yahya alayhi salam. He couldn't go too long without making dhikr of Allah. He missed Allah Azza wa Jal so much that he kept going back to do dhikr. Like he felt an emptiness, I have to go check again, I have to go check again, I have to go check again. There was this persistence in him. Hananan min ladunna. A kind of persistence that can only come especially from us. Wa zakatan. And he was obsessed with purity. He's pure and he maintained his purity, his chastity. Also we know he didn't get married. Wa kana taqiyan. And some ulama even say he never even looked at a woman. They never even looked at. And if he did have the urge to meet with someone, it was who? Allah Azza wa Jalla himself. It was an unusual spirituality that lived in him. وَكَانَ تَقِيًّا. And he was very watchful, careful, protective of his character. وَكَانَ تَقِيًّا. وَبَرًّا بِوَالِدَيْهِ. And he was good to both his parents. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ جَبَّارًا عَصِيًّا. And he wasn't a tyrant. And he wasn't disobedient. لَمْ يَكُنْ جَبَّارًا عَصِيًّا. Interestingly, in the previous surah, we learned about a child who might grow up to be Jabbaran Asi, who might, force even his parents into kufr. And so it's not, coincidental that these kinds of, these things are alluded to in the Quran. They refresh something that you've already just read, that you just passed through. So وَبَرًّا بِوَالِدَيْهِ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ جَبَّارًا عَصِيًّا. Allah specifically highlights he was good to his parents. This is a quality that anybody has. It's not specific to Yahya alayhi salam. Any righteous person would have it. But Allah is highlighting something about goodness to parents here, that it is actually a prophetic tradition to be good to parents. And it's a special gift from Allah that you have the opportunity to be good to parents. That's the thing that's being highlighted here. وَسَلَامٌ عَلَيْهِ. And great peace may be upon him. يَوْمَ وُلِدَ. The day on which he was born. وَيَوْمَ يَمُوتُ. Meaning he was born safely. He was not in any danger. The mother carried the child even though she wasn't of the age. But he was safe. And salutations also means he was honored the day he was born. That also, salam also doesn't just mean peace, it also means honor. وَيَوْمَ يَمُوتُ. And the day on which he's going to die, meaning the day he will be shaheed. وَيَوْمَ يُبْعَثُ حَيًّا. And the day he will be resurrected again, alive again. وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ Maryam. Now we're ready to talk about Maryam. Mention in the book, talk in the book about Maryam. إِذِ انْتَبَذَتْ. Nabadha, we saw the word in Baqarah. فَنَبَذُوهُ وَرَاءَ ظُهُورِهِمْ كَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. They threw it away thinking of it as worthless. When you see a candy wrapper or something, you say, what's this? And you throw it away. This is nabadh. You don't value it. Intabadha is when someone doesn't value themselves. They think they are worthless and they throw themselves out of people's company. I am not worth being here. I'm an embarrassment to my family or whatever. I don't belong here. I just need to be away. So it's, someone says, I'm going to do dhikr of Allah, but I can't sit in the masjid because all these people are talking and, I'm just going to go in a room by myself and do dhikr or something. Then they don't think they themselves are not worthy. They think they're better than everybody else and they're going to go somewhere where they're not going to be disturbed. Maryam has the opposite idea. She wants to go away so she can concentrate on dhikr, not because she thinks she's better than people, because she thinks she's not worthy. She's got this humility in her. Intabadat min ahliha. And this is even away from her own family. It's not away from other people, it's from her own family. Meaning she was so inclined to do dhikr of Allah Azza wa Jal, like Shaykh Sha'rawi says, so inclined to do dhikr that she couldn't even spend too much time with the people that she loved. Her mother had already, devoted her to the service of Allah in her dua before she was born. And as a result of that, she had this unusual love for dhikr, that she couldn't even find herself at the service of her family, and she excused herself makanan sharqiyya, in a place to the east, meaning the east of Masjid al-Aqsa. The implication here is the east of Masjid al-Aqsa. Also, some say these were quarters away from the regular population of men that came to make salat. Because she didn't want to have her quarters where there was high population, so she wanted to be a little bit separated. Even though her family quarters were closer on this side, she chose the eastern side and separated her wing entirely. فَاتَّخَذَتْ مِن دُونِهِمْ حِجَابًا. Then she took a barrier, in other words, a kind of curtain or something like that, away from them. So she was completely private by herself. فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا رُوحَنَا. Then we sent our ruh, which there's a consensus among the Muslims and Muslim scholars that this is Jibreel alayhi salam. Allah sent him to her. فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا. Then he came to her in the form of, tamathal, he represented himself to her as a mortal being. Sawiya, upright, standing upright, healthy. Also sawiya here means in terms of character. He appeared to be a good man, a righteous man. But righteous or not, you're a woman by yourself making dhikr and this curtain, and some dude pulls the curtain and says, Assalamu alaikum, then there's a problem. So she doesn't say, oh, well, you look like a bashar and sawiya, that should be okay. So she immediately قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك. She said, no doubt I seek refuge of the ultimately merciful. You will find the word Rahman mentioned a lot in this surah. Allah will be alluded to as Ar-Rahman, and that's particularly relevant to a Christian audience. Because when they say God is what? Mercy. So Allah appeals to the audience. I seek refuge of the unimaginably merciful from you, in kunta taqiyya, if in fact you have any consciousness of God at all. Also some say, so in other words, if you have any God consciousness left, you will not do what I think you're going to do. You're not, so because she thinks he has bad intentions. But also, even if you are righteous, some have interpreted the in here, even if you're righteous, I still seek refuge of Allah from you. Because your righteousness is no guarantee. قَالَ إِنَّمَا أَنَا رَسُولُ رَبِّكَ. And he says, no, I'm here on a mission. I didn't come here because I want to. I'm here because I have to be here. I'm only a messenger of your master, لِأَهَبَ لَكِ, to grant you غُلَامًا زَكِيًّا, so that I can grant you an intelligent young boy. Zaki, intelligent, also pure of character. Okay? So his job is to give the child because he has to blow, the ruh. قَالَتْ أَنَّا يَكُونُ لِي غُلَامٌ. She said, how am I going to have a child? وَلَمْ يَمْسَسْنِي بَشَرٌ. No man has ever touched me. وَلَمْ أَكُ بَغِيًّا. And I've never, ever been rebellious. I've never had a phase I was going through. لَمْ أَكُ بَغِيًّا. قَالَ كَذَلِكَ. He said, yeah, it's going to be this way. I know you haven't been this way, but Allah's verdict is His verdict. قَالَ كَذَلِكَ. قَالَ رَبُّكَ هُوَ عَلَيَّ هَيِّنٌ. Your master says, He is completely capable of doing this without a problem. Has he said these words before? Yep. History repeating itself? We're seeing this pattern in the Quran, huh? In generations, history repeats itself, the words repeat themselves, and the same words are uttered again generations later. وَلِنَجْعَلَهُ, or even in this case, a generation later. وَلِنَجْعَلَهُ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ. And so that we may make him a miracle for the people. He is actually a manifestation of the word of Allah. وَكَلِمَةً مِّنْهُ. He is the word of Allah. You know, Christians say Jesus is the word. We don't disagree. We don't disagree. That much we agree. You know, and that's the ayah too. Ayah is a word of Allah too. So we will make him a miraculous sign for people. وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا. And we will make him a mercy that comes from us. وَكَانَ أَمْرًا مَقْضِيًّا. And that is a decision that has been declared. مَقْضِيَّ ism maf'ul. It has been declared. It's done. فَحَمَلَتْهُ. Then she carried him. She became pregnant. فَانْتَبَذَتْ بِهِ. Then she took herself away with him. She didn't want to be around anybody because it was becoming obvious that she's becoming pregnant. He's carrying a child. مَكَعَدًا قَصِيًّا. A place that's far, far away. She went as far as she possibly could. فَأَجَاءَهَا الْمَخَاضُ إِلَى جِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ. Then she came at the bottom of the trunk of a palm tree, and she brought him right there, and then she's lying down and she can't bear the pains anymore. Says قالت يا ليتني مت قبل هذا. She says, if only I had died before this happened. Scholars started talking about, are you allowed to wish for death? As Maryam alayha says, يا ليتني مت قبل هذا. But the overwhelming understanding is that it is out of humiliation and this responsibility. Like, the disbeliever will say on that day, like يا ليتني كنت ترابا. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu says, he wishes he was a blade of grass that won't be questioned on Judgment Day. So the idea here is not that I died before this, that I wish I was dead, but I wish I never had to take on this responsibility because I don't know if I can bear it. I don't know if I can bear this responsibility. وَكُنْتُ نَسْيًا مَنْسِيًا. And I don't know how people are going to humiliate me and say all kinds of things. I wish I was a forgotten memory. نَسْيًا مَنْسِيًا. This is actually an adjective on top of an adjective. I was completely and utterly forgotten. Nobody would even remember who I was. I was not even someone who's mentioned. فَنَادَاهَا مِن تَحْتِهَا. Then he called her from underneath her. Some say this is Isa alayhi salam as he came out. Others say actually that this is Jibreel alayhi salam came back to the palm tree where she was, but he didn't want to come and approach her from in front of her because that would be indecent. So he's at the bottom of the hill. And she's way up there somewhere. So he doesn't approach her, but he's at the bottom. And from the bottom itself he called. Because he wanted to maintain her privacy. So he just calls from the bottom and says, لا تحزني. Don't grieve. What's she grieving about? How humiliated she will be when people go and accuse her. قَدْ جَعَلَ رَبُّكِ تَحْتَكِ سَرِيًّا. Your master has placed right underneath you, he's placed a stream. Sari is a small stream of water. وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِذْعِ النَّخْلَةِ. And shake towards yourself the trunk of the palm tree. Now the trunk is easy to shake or hard to shake? Especially for a woman to shake. And then she's pregnant and she's delivering a baby right now. She's in extreme amount of pain. But you know what? Women, when they're delivering, get these enormous bursts of energy. So Allah give her this energy to grab the trunk of the tree and hulk it. And تُسَاقِطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطَبًا جَنِيًّا. The dates are going to start falling on you and they'll lower themselves. The branches will come down and they'll lower themselves. Your food will be supplied. Food and drink are provided. فَكُلِي وَاشْرَبِي وَقَرِّي عَيْنًا. Then eat and drink and cool the eye. Stop crying. قَرِّي عَيْنًا here means stop crying. Relax. Calm down. It's okay. At least I know this. I've seen this about 6 times. A mother gives birth and she just cries. She just cries and cries and cries. And I'm just happy there's a baby there. But she's crying. Why are you crying? I'm so happy. But her crying is not just out of joy, it's also out of sadness. So Allah says, no, you need to shed tears of joy. قَرِّ عَيْنًا فَإِمَّا تَرَيِنَّ مِنَ الْبَشَرِ. If at all it so happens that you see any man at all, أَحَدًا, فَقُولِي, then say, إِنِّي نَذَرْتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ صَوْمًا, I have declared myself, I have dedicated, devoted myself to the ultimately merciful with a fast. This is a fast that's no longer alive in Islam. This was a fast that was there before the Sharia of the Prophet ﷺ. It was the fast of speaking. That you would declare a number of days where you wouldn't speak to anybody. Okay? God knows that wouldn't have been possible for us. فَلَنْ أُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمَ إِنْسِيًّا, today I will speak to no one. Now, you would say, Allah just says, tell him I'm fasting and I can't speak, but isn't that speaking? Right? So how does this work? Like from now on I won't speak? Or somebody else shows up and she says again, by the way, I'm fasting and I can't say a word. And then it starts over again, it resets the clock? How does this work? Well, you know what? In the previous surah, we've already gotten some clue about communication without direct speech. لا يكادون يفقهون قولا فأوحى إليهم أن سبحوا بكرة وعشيا in this surah. So you can, إن اللبيب من الإشارة يفهم people. You can't say, well, how did she do this? How did she say that I can't talk? How did she talk that? She indicated. She indicated somehow, communicated the idea. فَلَنْ أُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمَ إِنْسِيًّا, I will speak to no human being today. فَأَتَتْ بِهِ قَوْمَهَا, and then eventually Allah gave her courage to come. Some say after 40 days she came. فَأَتَتْ بِهِ قَوْمَهَا, she brought him to her nation. تَحْمِلُهُ, carrying him. قَالُوا يَا مَرْيَمْ, they said, Maryam, لَقَدْ جِئْتِ شَيْئًا فَرِيًّا, you have done a horrible offense. Fari is someone that's unexpected and a very big crime. That's called fari. You've done such a terrible, horrible thing, and it's not a small deal. Ya ukhta Harun, sister of Harun. Harun's sister. Now some people say, how can this be correct? Harun is the brother of Musa. That must mean that Maryam is the sister of Isa. Was Maryam walking by the riverbank? Is that what's going on? And then Isa alayhi salam is the nephew of Musa alayhi salam. Is that how this works? No, that's not how this works. Harun alayhi salam, actually this was asked by certain Christians when a Sahabi went to make da'wah to them and he recited these ayat and they said, Harun, he was with Musa, are you saying that they're siblings? And then he didn't know how to answer that, so he came back to the Prophet ﷺ and asked him. And he said, don't you know that so many people out of love of the Prophets name their children the Prophets' names? So one most common interpretation of this is that she actually had a sibling named Harun. The other thing that's also very commonly mentioned is that people from Banu Tamima were called Akhu Tamima. People from Banu Haritha were called Akhu Haritha. Like if you're from a nation, a lineage, then you just say brother of that lineage. So Harun is a beloved figure in Muslim history of Bani Israel. So they call each other what? Brother of Harun, meaning I'm from his people. So it could be she had a literal sibling, or it could be that he was just called that as a commemoration. Like you're from that noble lineage. How could you? مَا كَانَ أَبُوكِ امْرَأَ سَوْءٍ, your father was not a man of evil. وَمَا كَانَتْ أُمُّكِ بَغِيًّا, and your mother was not a rebel at all either. She doesn't say anything. She can't say anything. Why can't she say anything? She's fasting. فَأَشَارَتْ إِلَيْهِ, so she pointed at him, at the baby. قَالُوا كَيْفَ نُكَلِّمُ مَنْ كَانَ فِي الْمَهْدِ صَبِيًّا, how can somebody speak who's just in the cradle, sabi, immature, he's not old enough, how is he going to speak?